Alexander Clark is a 17-year-old Canadian hockey player with dreams of playing in the NHL. However, those dreams would quickly be crushed when he found out his dad was being relocated to the United States for his job. And out of all places, we were placed in Valdosta, Georgia, where the closest hockey rink is over a 2-hour drive. And what I didn't know was that it was home to the winningest high school football program in the nation. My 6'3" frame was quickly recruited by the head coach to play wide receiver for the Wildcats. It was a very hard decision for me because I missed hockey a lot, but I figured I'd give it a shot and see just how hard it is. And during spring practice, I blazed by every single DB and learned that I was the fastest guy on the field. This combined with exhausting extra work over the summer with my quarterback Steve Merca allowed me to win the starting receiver job heading into game 1. Due to our speed, we were put back there on punt and kick return, and it would definitely prove to be the right decision as we were able to use it to get on the outside and get a huge punt return to start off the season. Steve Merca was by far my best friend that I have made, and we spent a lot of time in the summer, so it didn't really come as a surprise that he was taking shots to me early on in the game. Unfortunately, due to our lack of experience, we didn't come down with this one, but we'll definitely make up for it. And after I beat this DB off the line, Steve would give me a shot to the corner of the end zone, and I would make the catch for our first ever touchdown, and we were feeling great about it. It was at that moment I knew that I could really play with these guys and show my ability as an athlete. To make things even better, all that extra off-season work was starting to show up in our route running ability. That drive ended with a big score, and we were able to take a huge lead, and Grayson just couldn't keep up with us as we ran away with game 1. It definitely felt great to see all that hard work translate to the field in such a short amount of time, and to see our quarterback have some success in our first game of the season. Although we didn't get the most flashy stats, we did finish with 6 catches and our first touchdown on the season. Game 2 was a different story as we started off really hot with a nice easy touchdown, finding some open space for Steve and jumping out 2 touchdowns ahead of Garden City. Midway through the second quarter, Steve would take another shot to me on a back shoulder throw that was a dime, and we would go up for it, put our hands on it, catch it, but the DB would come and swat it out. We got to learn to have strong hands in that moment and hold on to that football. Once we got into more of a groove, we started showing our route running ability on this dig, making a nice catch and getting upfield for a big 20-yard gain. That would lead to this curl route in the red zone with 40 seconds left. We would make the catch and have 5 yards to get into the end zone, but we would barely come up just short, not getting the touchdown, but it didn't matter because we scored anyway. Steve would throw another dot to the sideline that we couldn't come down with, and we would once again have to make up for it with our route running ability, absolutely cooking this DB on the curl. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought I saw some space up the seam here, so I took it, and Steve would throw it up to me in double coverage, and we would go up and make our best catch so far of our career, coming down with it. And even though coach was pissed we didn't run our route, that one was still going on the highlight tape. And it definitely helps that later on in the game we were able to catch this slant route and barreling our way into the end zone for our second touchdown of the game to secure us another W, which definitely helped to turn some heads and gain some interest from some college football teams. We would start week 3 off against Hinesville with a corner route, and unfortunately we would get absolutely locked down, but Steve would still take a shot at us in double coverage like last week, but only this time it would go the other way, and they would come down with the interception on the very first pass play of the game. After that, coach went with some quick game to get our quarterback's confidence back up, and it paid off because he would find me on this slant route, and I would take it up the field for a huge gain to get us back in rhythm. And we all know he definitely got his confidence back because he would take a shot to me in one-on-one and threw a beautiful back shoulder ball, which we would high point and come down with and make the catch, getting inside the 15-yard line. That drive would only result in 3 points, but we would continue to make plays and catches all game, except for this play where they would buzz 3 guys underneath my slant and Steve would throw it right to the Mike linebacker, resulting in his second pick on the day. Luckily, our defense was playing great though, and they would get us the ball back with excellent field position, and he would find me on the back line showing our connection, getting our first touchdown of the game. From there on out, things started to definitely go our way as we would take this punt return, showing our speed, getting on the outside, and if we weren't a former hockey player and had better football awareness, we would have taken this for a touchdown. But even then, we still had an innate ability to track the ball in the air, making beautiful catches like this as we're getting tackled by the safety. And me and Steve would really show our connection on this play as we both see the corner jump inside, giving us all the space to the back corner, getting us our second touchdown on the day. Follow that up, we would have another girl route and end up running the back line. It would work out great again, getting us another touchdown. From there on out, it might as well have been a highlight reel because we would get the ball back with 30 seconds left in the half, and he would take a back shoulder shot to me in the end zone as we get our 4th touchdown of the game. We ran away with it and improved to 3-0 on the season. After the 16 catch, 229 yard, 4 touchdown performance, we would get our second star and end up getting our first scholarship offer from Georgia Southern. Week 3 was off to a really hot start after we would catch catch this corner route for a touchdown on the first drive of the game. And I knew heading into this one, all eyes would be on us because we got our first offer last week. So I wanted to continue to make plays without the ball in my hand, and we would do just that, making this crazy pancake block. Not only that, but I wanted to also show my consistent route running ability, and this out route would give me all the separation I need for an easy catch. And surprisingly, an 0-3 Dublin team was still hanging on as Steve tries to force in this slant into quadruple coverage. And I think his confidence was gone because he would follow it up with another pick right there, and this one would nearly go back for 6 points. But luckily, right before the end of the game, we would start to get back in the groove of things. And in one of the most exciting and crazy plays I've ever seen on NCAA, we would call for this go ball, and Steve would try to back shoulder us, and it would end up hitting off the back of the DB and going straight to Gio for the touchdown, secure us a W. Back at home this weekend, I knew it was going to be a pretty solid matchup based on the record. We would start it off with a nice route and catch, and in the first quarter, the ball would continue to find us as we were getting a lot of separation, especially on this curl route where we ran it to perfection, made the catch, and had enough space to truck this DB and get inside the end zone for 6. After a solid 14-0 lead, we would run an out route here, and Steve would try to force it into coverage, and it would get picked off and taken back for 6 points. But regardless, we had a short memory, and we continued to make plays and find open space down the field. And one of the things I wanted to focus on moving forward in the season is my ability to run after the catch and make plays with the ball in my hand. I would do just that, spinning and making this guy miss, getting up the right sideline for a huge gain. Follow that up, we would absolutely toast the defensive back, and if we didn't have to come back to make this catch, we would have taken this all the way to the house for another touchdown. But I can't fault my quarterback because he was throwing absolute dimes all game, and we were there to make the catch every time. And I thought our connection rose to another level on this play as we would see the open space. I wouldn't curl it, I would keep it up the sideline, taking off. We would get caught, but that's still a huge play on an adjustment route. Then to follow that, I would see all this green grass on this corner route, stem up our man, and absolutely beat him with speed to the end zone, and Steve would throw a beautiful ball right over the shoulder for another touchdown. And with that huge game, we were able to secure 3 big offers from Syracuse, Michigan State, and Georgia State, as well as gathering some interest from big-time schools like Ohio State, Notre Dame, and LSU. Things were really starting to look up, and I thought we might have a chance at winning the national championship, especially when we start games like this with a nice easy touchdown on the go route and back shoulder throw. And our route running ability has seriously improved as we're able to get all the separation we need to get easy catches all game long. We still ran some really good routes and made some plays and got a big W to send us to 6-0 on the season. In week 7, we were taking on an 0-6 Fort Valley team, so this should have been an easy win, and we would start it off with a touchdown. To follow that up, we would run this slant route against cover 0 pressure. Steve would find us over the middle. The DB would miss on his attempt to swat the ball, and nothing but green grass was in front of us as we would march our way into the end zone for 6. And one thing I noticed that we needed to improve on was our stamina, as we have never ran this much in our lives. So while we may have the speed, that's definitely something to work on moving forward. We cap off this game with another touchdown on this wide open corner route, and we couldn't believe how easy it was to win at this point. And in one of our most impressive performances yet, we would have 11 catches for 258 yards, 3 touchdowns, and we would get our 4th start on the season. And the hype around us was real as we were getting offers from Michigan, Notre Dame, and Louisville all in one. In our next game against East Point, we wouldn't make our first catch until the second quarter when it was all tied up at 14-14. And this was a tighter game than it should have been because our quarterback would try to force a ball on this out route and throw it right to the flat defender who got underneath of it. I don't know what was going on with him this game, but he would try to force another one downfield, and the safety would undercut this one for an easy interception. And even on routine out routes, Steve couldn't find us and was throwing the ball all over the field. But just like usual, we would get open for him and he would find us in the end zone to get back into the swing of things. From there on out, we would run away with the game and seal it with a nice touchdown on the stem corner right here to the pylon. We'd open up the scoring against West Augusta with this backline dig route. Then on this corner route that I took too deep and should have flattened off, Steve would take a shot at us and we wouldn't be able to make the play for him. The DB would get the interception and we would have to make a tackle on him, and I would definitely be taking the blame for that one. But it was all right because we didn't lose confidence, and he found us on this slant route where we got up in the seam for a huge 25-yard gain. Then we would run this go route, get the DB to flip his hips, and catch an easy back shoulder ball. We had this DB in shambles, brushing him off, but not having enough acceleration to just take that to the crib. And then in popular adjustment fashion, Steve would somehow find us on this out and up. The safety wouldn't make a play on it, and we would get this crazy catch. It gave us all the momentum we needed, and we even won player of the game with 7 receptions and 160 yards. And you might as well throw that tackle in there too. We enter into round 1 of the playoffs with an undefeated record against a 7-1 D1 College Park team. In the tight red zone, Steve would for some reason not like me off the break here on this route, so we would have to find some open space, but we would make the contested catch for the first touchdown of our playoff run. Then something we completely doctored up after practice finally came to light as we talked about converting red zone go balls into comebacks, and I would run it to perfection. He would put it right on the pylon for me, and we would go back to back with touchdowns to give us the lead against College Park. At that point, our confidence was too great, and Steve would come to me all game long. We would catch another touchdown on this broken coverage, getting a nice toe tap to put us up 21-7. And for some reason, the playoffs have just put me in a whole new mindset. Our route running ability is just too good to handle for this defense, and we were coming at them from every single angle, finding the end zone every single chance we had. And I don't even know what to say about this next play, because we would go up and make one of the nicest catches of the season, and I couldn't believe that all this extra work on the jug machine has started to pay off. We were not dropping anything, and that was enough to take us to a 5-star recruit as we went on with 17 catches, nearly 300 yards of receiving, 5 touchdowns. I couldn't believe it. Our story was the buzz of the high school football world at this point, and round 2 of the playoffs could not have started off any better as we catch this kick, take it up, and our teammates make every single block we need. We would bounce it to the outside, get up the left sideline, and there was nothing in between me and the end zone as we would march all the way in for our first and easiest kick return of our career. We take a quick 14-0 lead on this touchdown pass, and I don't know what the defense was thinking for this play, but they must not have understood me and Steve's connection, because once I saw this defensive back jump inside, I took it straight vertical to the end zone, and it ended up working out great for the touchdown. And that was the most impressive part about our journey, is our football IQ and our ability to find open lanes and find the end zone with the ball in our hands. We could simply not be stopped, and our mindset was that there was nothing between us and the state championship game. So after this easy fade route back shoulder touchdown, we were heading to the state championship on an absolute mission. And once I stepped foot in front of this large crowd, I finally understood the gravity and the culture that football brings, and I couldn't do anything but smile and appreciate that moment. We'd start off the first drive with a couple of nice catches, like on this slant route where we would barrel our way inside the 10. That would lead to an easy 7 points, and we would get the ball back quickly, and Steve would take a shot up to me into double coverage, but unfortunately we couldn't hang on to it, and we missed out on a crucial opportunity there. Knowing that, we had to make up for it, and I would take this kick return, bounce it to the outside, show off our speed, get up the left sideline, and unfortunately they dropped 2 guys really far back, preventing us from getting in the end zone, but that was still a huge return. Still looking for my first score late in the second quarter, QB would take a shot to me in the back of the end zone, and the DB was all over it. We didn't even have a chance to make a play on the ball. They would secure the turnover, but it didn't amount to anything because we got the ball back with 23 seconds left. I would run a nice dig route inside, nearly get into the end zone, breaking a couple tackles, but unfortunately we would have to settle for 3 heading into the half. In the third quarter, Steve would find Thean for a big touchdown to give us some breathing room, and that really opened up the scoring as we would find our first touchdown, high pointing this ball over the DB to extend our lead to 31-7. And with a lot of confidence and comfortability, he would take another shot to me to the end zone, throw a beautiful back shoulder ball, which we would come down with for another touchdown. And we knew at that point the state championship was ours, as we finished with 10 catches, 157 yards, 3 touchdowns, secured our spot as one of the top 20 recruits in the nation. But the only question that remained was, out of all these schools that have offered me, where should I attend?